you know.
Well, Trump just blew past. He just the one thing that we'll have to say about him is he said, I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and my people wouldn't give a shit. He actually is an adjudicated rapist on Fifth Avenue. A court of competent jurisdiction, a judge said by any common definition of the word rape, you raped that woman.
This is the dressing room one?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, that may have happened, but I mean...
But a jury in a court said it did.
That fucking means nothing to me, because I know what they know, which is nothing. They know two people said two different things about something that happened in the 90s, and of which there's no witnesses or tape.
But you know
so
what?
Look, I hate Donald Trump as much as anybody, but I can't say for sure I just know that. Just because 9 people said they think that, I can't.
First of all,
but yes,
they had more evidence. In other words,
did?
Yes. So she told me
what was
this
the
happened.
What was the evidence?
Other people that she told contemporaneous with it.
Well,
which whatever. A jury said that
you know what? You know more about this case than apparently I do, and maybe if I knew everything, I would be completely.
I know that a jury.
Yeah.
I tend to have more faith in most people. In juries, I think most of them really try to weigh what's there, and I do know that a jury. But now I get too technical here, but by a preponderance of the evidence,
right?
It's a little bit of a different standard in a criminal case. It's beyond a reasonable doubt.
I'm admitting I didn't know that there was like evidence.
Bill Maher and James Carville just tore into both parties, and it got brew to brace yourselves. This wasn't just a sit-down, it was a battlefield. When Bill Maher linked up with political strategist James Carville, sparks flew fast. Carville came out swinging. Not every Trump supporter is racist, but every racist sure seems at home in Trump's camp. That line lit the fuse, and the political fireworks didn't stop there. He torched today's GOP, calling it a hollowed-out version of real conservatism. According to Carville, it's no longer about policy, it's about out-externing Trump. He blasted figures like Ron DeSantis and Vivek Ramaswamy for chasing the party's most radical edge in a reckless race to the bottom. But Maher? He didn't let the left off easy. He clocked back at the far left's obsession with ideological purity, cancel culture, and tribal politics, saying it mirrors the very MAGA mindset it claims to oppose. The takeaway: America's political conversation is broken beyond party lines. Maher and Carville both agreed. This isn't about left versus right anymore. It's common sense versus chaos. And the scariest part, Carville dropped the mic with this. Some Republicans see Democrats as a bigger threat than actual foreign enemies. This wasn't your usual political chat. It was raw, unfiltered, and brutally honest. If you care about where the country's headed, this is the conversation you need to hear. Smash that like, hit subscribe, and drop your take in the comments. We're just getting started.
To his madness, and the thing I always say about Trump, you have to remember, he's stupid and crazy, and they're two completely different things. And this is like the crazy part works for him, because he's without a mechanism to edit or to pull back. So, as my friend Jimmy always says, insanity photographs. You can't take your eyes off him. Obviously, whenever they put him on TV, the ratings go through the roof. And that's why. Insane people are charismatic. You can't look away. So when he does all this, I mean, not just sexual stuff, but certainly the sexual stuff, it's like, I'm going to own, no one else in the world would even think of this as a strategy. And he has no strategy. It's just what he feels. He's all id. But to own that, to own being this kind of guy, and half the country likes it. Or at least it's not a deal breaker, because they feel like it's honest.
At least he's honest. He says what he thinks.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to. And the thing you like is he tells you it's okay if you hate other people. He validates what that guy says. I like because he says what I think.
Well, he plays on the fact that his people think that your people hate them and look down on them and see them as deplorables. I mean, I think they take...
You know, there's some truth to that.
Oh, there's a lot of truth.
And I'm as good a Democrat
Yes,
as
you
the next
are.
person. But you hear...
Bill Maher and James Carville just sounded the alarm on America's tribal politics. This wasn't just another round of political commentary. It was a brutal reality check. When Bill Maher and James Carville sat down, they didn't just vent about dysfunction in D.C., they took a deep dive into America's political soul, and what they uncovered was unsettling. Their message: real debate is dying. Politics isn't about policy anymore. It's a loyalty test. Step even slightly off the party line, and you risk exile, cancellation, or worse. Maher, known for calling out both extremes, didn't sugarcoat it. We're not trying to convince each other. We're just trying to win moral points. The left obsesses over ideological purity. The right spirals into nationalism. Different tribes, same toxic playbook. Carville went further. Americans are more focused on passing ideological purity tests than legislation that actually helps people. Why? Because outrage equals clicks, and clicks equals power. The media isn't designed to inform anymore. It's built to inflame. The result? A culture fed on fear, where compromise is weakness and disagreement is betrayal. In today's political climate, your opponents aren't just wrong, they're evil. Maher and Carville's warning was blunt. If this continues, America won't just be divided, it will be locked in an endless war of us versus them, where solving problems takes a backseat to scoring points. But here's the twist. It wasn't all doom and gloom. They issued a challenge. Step out of your echo chamber. Listen. Debate. Disagree. Respectfully. That's the only path forward. This wasn't just political talk. It was a siren for anyone still paying attention. And if we don't change course soon, the divide won't just remain. It will consume us.
On me, like, yes, that's your interior monologue. There's a lot of pressure on me because the FBI's looking into me for good reason. You don't say, so I invited the Russians in. I mean, like, it's so beyond it. This is not
like a Russian ambassador showing him top secret shit. He was showing a guy at Bedminster, look at these.
But I mean, he does one a day, or he did when he was president, like something that only a nut would do. It's amazing to me that we lived through those 4 years, because when I look back on it, and of course the Trump people say, oh, you know, you have Trump derangement syndrome, and yeah, he blew up the world, right, Bill? I don't, you know, you're right, he didn't blow up the world. I still think he could, okay? Is that completely crazy that I think a crazy person could blow up the world? No.
The shit that he did is like stunning.
I'm saying, no.
The documents case, if you stop and you think about it, like one time,
I could read 1,000 tweets that are just insane that just went by. I remember there was one that said he was mad at China, and he said, I hereby, he's the king, I hereby order all American companies to immediately, you know, work on a plan to change your, he was like ordering them to get out of China. Oh, I hereby order. And again, that's just insane that nobody else would even think to do that. But he doesn't think. That's his insanity and his attraction to people.
Let me ask you a question. Okay, history eventually finds out. They find this asshole Pius XII. They found the letter where they told him they were gassing.
The Pope during World War II?
Yeah. All right, we know from history he's been outed, I guess is what you would say.
Right.
Do you think, with all the history is known, would you guess that the Russians have compromised on Trump, or that's just liberal factors?
No, I have always said that the Russian hoax theory is a hoax. Plainly, there was something going on between Russia and Trump. It was not perhaps...
James Carville just dropped a warming shot. And Democrats better listen. James Carville isn't just another pundit. He's a battle-tested veteran of political war. He's seen how power works up close, and he's not here to play nice or preach false hope. In his words, your enemies define you just as much as your allies. That's not cynicism, it's survival. And right now, Carville sees Democrats sleepwalking into danger. His message? Don't count Trump out. Sure, we've seen the indictments, the scandals, the chaos. But none of it has weakened Trump's grip. It may have made it stronger. Trump isn't running on policy. He's running on resentment, and his base eats it up. Carville practically shouted it. Democrats laughed him off once, and it cost them. If they make the same mistake again, it could be 2016 all over again, but worse. Carville's critique didn't stop with Trump. He torched the Democrats' obsession with moral superiority. Too many are busy feeling right instead of fighting smart. They're counting on demographic trends to save them while Trump turns every scandal into a rallying cry. That's the real Trump superpower. Backlash. He doesn't win with logic. He wins by turning criticism into proof that he's fighting the system. Carville's final point was brutal but clear. In politics, winning isn't a moral contest, it's war. And in this war, knowing your enemies is just as critical as knowing your allies. Underestimate Trump again, and the fallout could be catastrophic. So if you're paying attention, here's your wake-up call. This wasn't just commentary. This was a flare shot into the night sky.